Two airlines are fighting each other. But this time the airlines are not fighting over customers and offering flyer miles. This time airlines are trying to win over the right to buy off one of their competitors, the coveted Spirit Airlines. Jetblue and Frontier are going all out to woo Spirit Airlines. In this love triangle, the stakes are high. Whoever buys Spirit will gain all its planes and pilots, as well as the possibility of becoming the 5th largest airlines in the USA. Jetblue is pulling all the stops to buy Spirit Airlines. However, Frontier is also doing the same thing. Both carriers have given offers to buy out Spirit Airlines. Jetblue's stock price dropped by 9% when they announced their bid to buy Spirit, while Frontier's dropped by 12% in April. While Spirit's stock price is up by 9% this year, from a glance, Jetblue is offering more money than Frontier to buy out Spirit Airlines. Jetblue is also a much larger airline than Frontier will ever be, so Spirit Airlines would be in better hands if it accepted the Jetblue deal. Jetblue is so bent on getting Spirit Airlines for itself that it is willing to pay a hefty premium for Spirit. Surprisingly, Spirit Airlines still rejected Jetblue's takeover bid. Some of you may be wondering why Spirit Airlines isn't accepting the Jetblue offer when it's obviously superior to Frontier's. Well, that's because this isn't a case of two airlines competing to buy Spirit Airlines. In truth, Frontier and Spirit Airlines have already been talking about merging with each other for years now. It took a lot of time for both Frontier and Spirit Airlines to finally iron out the kinks of their deal. Then after years of work, they announced the Frontier and Spirit merger. It was only at this time when JetBlue appeared out of the blue and swooped in with an all-cash offer to buy Spirit Airlines. JetBlue told Frontier to back off so it could take Spirit Airlines for itself. Now executives and investors of both Frontier and Spirit Airlines are in disarray, wondering who to bet on. Spirit now has two choices, JetBlue or Frontier. So why did JetBlue jump into the merger and start making things complicated for everyone? The reason is quite simple. JetBlue was unhappy that Frontier had made the proposal to acquire Spirit Airlines. So why does JetBlue want this deal? We can understand why JetBlue wants Spirit Airlines by looking at the chart of all US airlines. This shows us how the airline hierarchy in North America works. Here we can see the big four carriers: American Airlines, Southwest Airlines, Delta Airlines, and United Airlines. The four biggest carriers make up for more than 60% of the US airline market, and each of the four have over 10% control of the market share of miles flown by passengers on US domestic flights. Then we have the other airlines, which are the regional and budget airlines. Alaska, JetBlue, and Spirit are tied up for 5th place based on passenger miles flown, while Frontier has only 3% of the market. JetBlue believes it can become the 5th largest US airline by combining with Spirit's fleet of planes and customers, giving itself the 10% market share at once. Essentially, if JetBlue and Spirit merges, JetBlue will get the planes and pilots it needs to start challenging the large carriers dominating the US airline industry. However, if the opposite happens, and both ultra-low-cost carriers Frontier and Spirit combine, they would create a discount flight behemoth. The low-cost business model would have enough scale to disrupt the airline industry, so JetBlue would gain a new discount airline rival, while legacy airline giants will continue fighting JetBlue for market share. This is JetBlue's worst-case scenario. JetBlue also has to stop Frontier from buying Spirit at all costs, otherwise Spirit's merger with Frontier will create a larger competitor to JetBlue. By acquiring Spirit Airlines, JetBlue believes it can expand its presence in its focus cities: Boston, Los Angeles, New York, Hollywood, Orlando, and San Juan. By incorporating Spirit's pilots and fleets into its own, JetBlue would be able to expand its customers beyond the West Coast. It would double in size in Los Angeles, becoming the de facto number 2 in the market, which is always useful for building up a loyal customer base and long-term growth. The pandemic had devastating consequences for air travel and a lot of pilots retired. JetBlue's pilot roster is not enough to meet demand. Pandemic retirements meant pilots were in short supply, causing airlines to cancel flights during the pandemic reopening as consumer demand for air travel was picking up. So now JetBlue is in a situation opposite from what they experienced throughout the pandemic. They now have more demand than supply. With inflation ramping up and a looming recession, airlines are finding it difficult to grow. JetBlue sees the Spirit deal as its last chance to grow. Now let's talk about what both airlines are offering to buy Spirit. Frontier's offer is lower than JetBlue's. It is offering to buy Spirit at $22 a share and offered a $200 million reverse breakup fee. These figures seem to pale in comparison to JetBlue's gargantuan offer. JetBlue is proposing an all-cash offer of $33.50 per share with a total value of over $3.7 billion. JetBlue is also offering a reverse termination fee just in case the government regulators decide to block the offer. This was done to quell Spirit's concerns of a botched deal. This reverse termination fee is worth $400 million if the JetBlue and Spirit merger fails. JetBlue is also offering a huge accelerated prepayment dividend of $2.50 per share once investors approve the deal. The airline is also promising to pay a ticking fee. JetBlue will pay small monthly dividends of 10 cents per Spirit share to Spirit shareholders starting from January 2023 till either the JetBlue merger with Spirit succeeds or when regulators shut down the deal. So JetBlue's offer is closer to $34.15 a share, or $4.30 a share paid to Spirit shareholders if the deal is blocked by regulators. JetBlue is also offering to sell some of its assets to avoid antitrust scrutiny by regulators, but it is so far unwilling to abandon its partnership with American Airlines. JetBlue does not care about Spirit and Frontier's concerns, and it will buy Spirit Airline no matter what the cost. So much so that JetBlue is trying to bypass Spirit's board of directors by asking Spirit shareholders to sell their Spirit shares to JetBlue for $33.50 a share, a 56% markup from the stock's prior stock price a day before the JetBlue offer. JetBlue's aggressive offer was so attractive that Frontier Airlines was forced to raise its breakup fee to $350 million and will offer $2.22 per share in accelerated upfront payments, which will be paid as a cash dividend if Spirit shareholders vote on a Frontier-Spirit merger. It's still planning to buy Spirit at $22 per share, which provides $2.9 billion in value. Despite the renewed offer, JetBlue's offer still seems better than Frontier's. In fact, JetBlue's offer to Spirit was so good, its own investors balked at the cost of the buyout. After JetBlue threw its hat into the ring and announced it was in the running to acquire Spirit, its own stock price dropped. JetBlue's stock has been down by 40% since April of this year. However, to date, Spirit is still sticking to its plan for a Frontier merger. It is showing no signs of accepting JetBlue's deal. So why does Spirit not want JetBlue's deal? The fight over Spirit Airlines got so heated that management of JetBlue, Spirit and Frontier were bashing each other through social media and press releases. JetBlue accused the Spirit board of directors as self-serving people who did not consider the offer seriously in the last 8 months while negotiating. JetBlue also accused Spirit's board for consistently ignoring and refusing to negotiate with JetBlue, while Frontier accused JetBlue of trying to trick Spirit's shareholders and called JetBlue a liar for pretending regulators would allow the JetBlue and Spirit merger to happen. However, Spirit and Frontier are not backing down. Spirit Airlines wants to be bought out by Frontier because both airlines share a common history of being ultra-low-cost carriers. JetBlue's buyout is not even an option to Spirit executives. Spirit Airlines is also worried about regulators. There are fears that JetBlue's buyout of Spirit would trigger an antitrust problem. Deep down, Spirit believes that regulators won't bless its merger with JetBlue, which is why it's so keen on continuing its merger with Frontier. Spirit's fears are justified. Regulators will likely stop JetBlue from buying Spirit because it will remove a low-cost airline competitor, removing capacity from the market and causing higher plane ticket prices. This is reasonable, since airlines profit based on scale. Why buy 2 planes that are only half full to the same destination when they can just cram all of their customers into one? If JetBlue can get away by pushing all their customers into a single plane and charge a premium for it, then they will, and regulators don't like that because it reduces choice. Both Frontier and Spirit are aware that the US Justice Department is already suing JetBlue to block the proposed partnership with American Airlines, as it would unfairly reduce competition. Spirit Airlines is not keen on a failed merger. They don't want to waste their efforts on an antitrust lawsuit by regulators for the next 3 years only to get the $400 million termination fee as a consolation prize. Waiting for litigations to play out are never fun. Choosing to take JetBlue's deal would mean leaving investors waiting for years for a payout that might never come. Spirit is also arguing that the $3.6 billion that JetBlue is offering is too low. When Spirit and Frontier combined, they will be worth more than $3.7 billion than what JetBlue is proposing to give the airline. JetBlue, on the other hand, is downplaying the worth more than $3.7 billion argument. JetBlue said the rosy projection is unlikely and regulatory hurdles of a Frontier and Spirit merger is also difficult, and Spirit executives have played down the difficulty of a Frontier and Spirit merger. Now, not everyone is optimistic about JetBlue's chances of competing with other legacy airlines after its possible buyout of Spirit Airlines. There is a chance that JetBlue's integration costs may weigh it down for the next 10 years. A similar situation happened when American Airlines merged with US Airways in 2013. The integration costs set the company back for years. There's a chance that Spirit's integration with JetBlue might disrupt their customer focus. JetBlue is a niche airline with low fares. Its point-to-point routes in urban centers like New York City and Boston have better amenities than rival airlines and boasts more legroom than average, free Wi-Fi, satellite TV, unlimited free snacks. Meanwhile, Spirit Airlines is an ultra-low-cost carrier. It sells its plane tickets at rock-bottom prices, but its seats are small and cramped, and any and all amenities amenities cost extra. Bigger seats, Wi-Fi, carry-on luggage or checked baggage, advanced seat assignments, snacks, drinks, all of that costs extra money if you're flying on Spirit Airlines. Spirit's business model relies on getting customers to use its plane so it can bleed and dry by charging customers extra for everything. That's why Spirit Airlines has some of the highest profit margins in the business in the last 10 years, while 69% of its tweets are negative, which is unsurprising since Spirit planes arrive on time 68% of the time. It has 3 times more complaints per passenger than any other airline, and it is always seen as a last resort for travelers to take because of its low fares. You could say Spirit Airlines is widely used and widely hated. If you fly for peanuts, then don't expect to travel comfortably. In contrast, JetBlue's airline is affordable but comfy, so bringing Spirit into JetBlue's airline would mean that JetBlue's service proposition as a comfy airline will be diluted. So far, Spirit's stock prices have dropped below the $33 per share offered by JetBlue, showing investors are skeptical that a JetBlue deal will go through. Spirit's Frontier deal still needs to be voted by Spirit shareholders. JetBlue is yelling at Spirit investors to reject the Frontier deal and is asking shareholders to vote for JetBlue buyout. JetBlue claims Spirit executives are misleading its shareholders by rejecting the JetBlue deal. Spirit Airlines is still set on the Frontier buyout and told its shareholders to ignore JetBlue and to vote for the Frontier deal. Not all Spirit investors are on board with Spirit executives. TIG Advisor LLC, which owns 2 million shares of Spirit, sent a letter to Spirit's board of directors saying it would vote against the Frontier merger as TIG advisors believe that the merger with JetBlue is better. So who will win and gain the right to buy out the worst airline in the world in the US for billions of dollars? We will have to wait and see. We will have to wait till Spirit shareholder vote on June 30th to find out. Only it's already past June 30th. Apparently, Spirit has had a change of heart because of JetBlue's offer. Spirit has announced the vote will be pushed back to July 8th. This is the second time that Spirit has delayed its vote on the Frontier merger. Previously, the Frontier deal vote was supposed to be on June 10th. Then it was pushed back to June 30th, and now it's been pushed back to July 8th. Make up your mind, Spirit Airlines. So to know which competitor will win the right to own Spirit Airlines, we will have to wait till July 8th. Like and subscribe.